Are you an optometry student, millennial doctor, seasoned optometrist, optician, ophthalmologist? On today's podcast, we're going to talk about how you can be empowered by the one and only Dr. Ryan Corte. It's all about Ryan Reflects, baby. And today we're going to make that magic happen. Let's go.
This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Super excited to be here on a Sunday with my brother that it's been honestly too long, Ryan. You know, at one point in time, you and I, we communicated on a regular cadence, but I know life has been lifing. You're married, you have kids. I'm married, I have kids. Funny thing is our wives have the same birthdays, and we always used to keep in touch with that. And I think our kids are about the same age as well, right?
They are, Darryl, and thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor, a pleasure, and yeah, if it's got to be on a Sunday, it's got to be on a Sunday. My wife, it's funny, I was like, honey, I'm doing a podcast at noon today. She goes, on a Sunday? And I go, listen, Darryl and I, our schedules, sometimes you got to make the stars align. And she's like, all right.
Right. And then also the other piece of this, of doing it on a Sunday, is because there's a big game for you tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so, it's funny you say that. I had a big game last night. I'm a huge Detroit Lions fan, and we have the #1 seed in the NFC, and we laid an egg. I mean, first and foremost, Washington played an outstanding game. So any Washington Commander fans on watching right now, your team looks fantastic. But I think I'm going through the motions of just seeing what happened last night, and now I'm turning the page and getting ready for the Buckeyes to face off in the national championship against Notre Dame. But yeah, man, a lot of football this weekend at the courthouse.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's get this party started, man. You know, one thing that I've always loved and adored about you is that, you always are, making yourself better, whether it's in the exam lane or outside of the exam lane. But it's like your secret sauce, your secret power is you get yourself better and then you empower others around you. So on today's podcast, I really want to, dive kind of all over in the world of eye care, because I'm a firm believer that if you're not empowered personally, you can't really get there professionally, right? Mm-hmm. Now, before we get this party started and go a little too far into the mix, for those that may be unaware of who you are, let's kind of dive into that if you don't mind. Maybe give us a little background of how you got into eye care and where you're at right now in your amazing career, if you don't mind, Ryan.
Thank you, Darryl. Yeah, my journey into optometry is like many. I didn't really know optometry was an individual profession growing up, but I spent a lot of time in the optometric office, got my first pair of glasses when I was in second grade, contact lenses shortly after. And when I went into undergrad, I knew I wanted to be pre-medicine, possibly pre-healthcare in general, but started to do some research on different professions and landed on optometry and was really inspired by a number of people within our profession that go about doing the rounds and talking to students in undergrad. And so fast forward, I went to undergrad at Michigan State, and then I did optometry school at the Ohio State University College of Optometry. And then I rounded things out in the Midwest by doing my residency at the Illinois Eye Institute, which is affiliated with ICO. And so that whole journey had really led me to where I am today. I always knew I wanted to practice in a warmer climate. Well, I now live in Asheville. It's not that warm. But North Carolina in general, you and I both know, can be a really enjoyable place to live, raise a family, access to the mountains, to the beach. And so I'm a partner in a 4-location LensCrafters sublease practice that has 2 offices in Charlotte and 2 offices in Asheville. And a quick plug for the Asheville offices, we're actually hiring. So if anybody's looking to practice in Asheville, reach out. I'm happy to have that conversation.
I love it. And I've witnessed you from day one build these practices up, and I'm just blown away by all the incredible and amazing work that you have. So if you guys are looking to partner with someone, this is the guy that you definitely want to be a part of, because he builds amazing teams, understands the importance of patient care. And, that's a good segue into, let's discuss the current state of optometry. because I feel like we're in a great place with optometry, but I also feel like there's a lot of challenges that face us right now in optometry. And I think with your experience in leadership, your experience in innovation and technology, your experience being a business owner, you have a good pulse of what's actually cooking up in the current landscape of optometry. So let's just kind of take it from the beginning and just kind of work our way through, if you don't mind, Ryan.
Sure. Yeah. So I believe that there is a lot going on in any profession right now, right? Technology and artificial intelligence has completely changed the game. And so if you want to focus on the negatives or the things that are happening within our profession, it's easy to go down the rabbit hole and to get really anxious or worried or fearful. I'm somebody I believe in a glass half full approach. I'm always very I'm an optimist. I believe in the power of positivity, Darryl, and just like you. And I think we have a lot of really cool things that are currently taking place, but that we can continue to leverage into the future. So optometry, even when I signed up, I mean, looking at all the specialty niches that are out there, we have specialty contact lenses and, just the focus on the treatment and management of ocular surface disease and all of the tools and all of the treatment modalities that we have available really inspire me, right?
Absolutely.
I'm big into actually providing, we don't have a low vision segment within my practice, but people that specialize in low vision and binocular vision, there are so many tools that they have at their disposal. And we are in demand. We are in need. I mean, I just was having a conversation with Joseph Allen the other day, who is Dr. Eye Health and has a great platform online, as you know. And he has kind of pointed the testament of our knowledge to why his YouTube channel, he's been so consistent in delivering great content, but why so many people have tuned in and subscribed. He's got over 1 million people following him. And that's less than 10% of the people that actually tuned into his channel. So the value of what we do has never been stronger, in my opinion. Primary eye care, medical eye care, and specialty eye care, Darryl. And then if you take a look at what's coming down the pipeline, artificial intelligence is going to be infused into every single thing that we do, all of the data that we collect. And I personally don't feel it's going to be one of those things that just takes the human component out of it. I think it's going to help support the human component of care that we provide, helping us provide at a higher level, helping us make more educated decisions. And so when I think of optometry and how we fit into the healthcare system, I truly believe we are the primary eye health and vision care providers with a lot of opportunity in the medical space and specialized space. How about you, though? What do you think? I mean, what are you seeing in all that you're involved in? I'm just curious.
Yeah, great question. I just want to say I love everything that you just touched on, and I want to kind of circle back to Joey. I just want to give him a shout out because he is the best ambassador that eye care could ever, ask for. I thank God for him every single day in eye care. Because of him, patients are more aware of what's going on and they're getting the right information. There's a lot of false information out there. And when you have someone that's a great advocate like him or Dr. Jennifer Tsai, Dr. Nishan Presley, these people are putting themselves out there in the public eye, and they're answering questions and really changing the game for us as eye care professionals and getting patients to come in to get their comprehensive routine eye exams. So I think it's very important for us as eye care professionals to always thank the folks that are going out there and putting their face out there, putting their lives on the line to talk about how great optometry is, but most importantly, how we are truly the gatekeepers into the healthcare system by just taking a look at the eyes and managing the ocular health as well. So wanted to give them a shout out in regards to that. Where we stand in optometry, for me, it's really about we need more optometrists. I feel like regardless of what kind of innovation, what kind of AI, what kind of ambassadorship, if we don't have enough optometrists, we're not going to be able to serve these patients. And I think it's very important to work together as a collective to really educate the public on how great optometry is as a profession and how rewarding it is, personally and professionally as well. I think if we're not able to really conquer that and get this ratio of 1-to-1 better and improve, I think we're going to be in a lot of trouble as time goes by, because I feel if we don't have enough optometrists, that's where sometimes AI can take over, especially if it's not in the optometrist's hands, right? So how can we, bring those two worlds together of having enough optometrists and then having that AI and optometrists running with that AI to be able to elevate and give better patient care in general. So for me, it's all about how do we get more numbers of applicants? How do we get more numbers of great applicants to get in there and make that magic happen as well? And I think some of the things that we can do is definitely look at the diverse world out there. We can tap into different backgrounds. We can just do things differently from what we've done in the past. But I think the biggest way to be an ambassador is to sit in that exam room with that patient that's sitting in front of you, regardless of what age they are, and educate them about how great this profession is, because that person may want to change in their career. They may not understand what exactly we do. And I think we're our greatest ambassadors to get more applicants and build up that pool. So that's where I feel we stand in regards to the landscape of optometry. We need more eye care professionals.
Yeah, definitely strong applicants, people that are interested in the profession and see the value of the care we're providing. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, 100%, man. Where do you feel we're going to stand, or where do you feel we're going to go with this AI? I mean, there's a lot of people that fear it. I feel like with AI, it's going to put us in a place where we don't have to collect data as much. We can actually have more face-to-face interaction with our patients. And I feel like it's going to help us be more accurate in regards to our diagnosis and help save and cut back on some of the expense of what healthcare or with our patients have to deal with. So I'm curious to know, let's dive a little deeper in regards to where you see AI going and how you're leveraging it in your current practice as well.
Yeah, from a number of components. From clinical care, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's going to help us take the data we have and be more intentional with that information over time. It's also going to allow us to kind of call a spade a spade. If something in AI doesn't make sense, like if you go into Chat GPT and you ask for a prompt and it gives you something that you don't want, you have to make the decision that, hey, that's not what I asked for. And so I
Right.
think a lot of people that think that AI is going to forever be perfect, there's always the threat of AI being, there being a cyber attack or it going down. We still have to have the knowledge to take all the information collected, just like we do now when we run an OCT or a
Right.
visual field. If the test isn't valid because of the data collected, we have to make that decision and call that out. So I foresee artificial intelligence being really, really helpful in the lane, allowing us to provide more streamlined, comprehensive medical care, as well as being more intentional with some of the specialty services we provide. I'm also utilizing it a lot in regard to looking at data for the practice. So how are we performing? A lot of different KPIs. How are we optimizing marketing? How are we optimizing? I've put together an entire office manual. It's almost 100 pages. A doctor manual, that's about half that. They coincide. They work together so that, making sure our team is on the same page as the doctors that are working in the clinic. And so utilizing artificial intelligence, I don't have it write it up for me, but what I do is I will take certain areas where I'm struggling and say, give me ideas on how I can further support this information. And the sky's the limit of how we can utilize artificial intelligence in our clinics, Darryl. It really is. And it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of these companies recommend that we utilize artificial intelligence, or they build it into the systems, the technologies that they have. And I think that's something that we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on long term, because there'll be companies that do it and do it in the correct way and loop us in as the primary eye care providers. And there may be some that try to, take a shortcut and bypass us. And I don't feel that those companies will be the best serving the eye health and vision care needs of people, right, who we're serving as primary eye care professionals, if you take optometrists out of the equation.
Yeah, and I love that you touched on both sides, the good and the bad. There will be some people that will take shortcuts. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
And I think that was a great call out, and I want to call out all my colleagues out there. This is another reason why we have to be active in the AOA. We have to make sure that we understand this is a legislative profession. It can be taken away tomorrow. And we have to put our money where our mouth is, and we have to show up, and we have to have these conversations, and we have to be leaders inside of our communities as well. So if you don't want optometry to go down the wrong path, there's strength in numbers. Let's increase the applicant pool, but then also let's partner with the AOA, our state societies, to really make a difference and really make a change. That way we continue to hold on to this amazing profession. In regards to AI, I'm glad that you touched on those parts in regards to, your protocols, your manuals, things of that nature. I want to dive a little deeper into practice management, because you took 0 practices to 4 practices in a state that is very competitive, and you've done an amazing job. So I would love to learn a little bit more about your mindset when it comes to practice management, because the current landscape of optometry is tough, man. I think the pandemic showed its face in regards to that, but you continue to grow as we see some practices shut down and close shop. So I'm curious to know, how have you been so successful when it comes to practice management?
Yeah, in regard to just working with the team that you put together, I think that we're only as good as the leadership that we put out there. I believe that we need to work together as a team to serve the community's eye health and vision care needs. And so it hasn't been without its challenges. It hasn't been without, trials and tribulations. I mean, we just had a hurricane hit Asheville.
Yeah.
And so that has greatly disrupted our clinical operations out here. And we're still working to get to where we need to be. But when you put all that aside, right, and you take all that out of the equation, it comes down to having a relationship with the individuals that are part of your team, hearing out what makes sense for them, and then putting all that information together to best build out that team and that schedule. And we're open 7 days a week, Darryl, right? So it's a full-fledged operation that's 28 doctor days a week, and it takes a lot of intentionality, a lot of communication. I have a business partner, Dr. Rachel Rubel, who I work with on all of this.
Yeah.
But these are things that you have to work together and understand everybody's desires, everybody's needs, and put the practice and put the patients at the forefront of it all, right? And we're extremely accessible, and in doing so, we've been successful with that model. But you're right, North Carolina is a tough state, and there's a lot of areas of the country, even some rural areas, where I see doctors are looking really, really hard for an optometrist, and they can't get any applicants. And I think it starts at kind of a grassroots effort, reaching out to people that are in school or even looking for a career change or a location change within optometry, and trying to find out, what are they looking for long term? How can you best support their vision, their goals, their dreams, not just be a number within a practice that once they sign the contract, you step away and you're not there to support them.
Wow, man. I mean, what I hear is you have to treat people like they're human. You have to listen to them. You have to put them on a pedestal. You have to do what we all should be doing just with every interaction, relationship that we have in life, right? But it's not hard. That's truly our secret sauce. I mean, that's what we're in. We're in the people's business when it comes to eye care, health care. You got to make people feel great. You got to make them feel good. You got to make them feel wanted, because when you do that, what happens is our patients, they tell us everything. We're able to diagnose better. And our team members, if we actually sit down and listen and put them on a pedestal, they're going to perform at a higher level. And on top of that, the loyalty is going to be unmatched. And you're going to go from having team members be a part of your practice for 6 months to a year to maybe 5 or 10 years, and grow with you as you age in your practice as well. So I think you really nailed it, man. We just got to really understand the mindset of our team members and what they want, and give them an opportunity to grow in their careers as well.
Well, and I'll give you an example, Darryl. So one thing that's really important to me is anytime that we recruit somebody and they sign a contract, I actually have them fill out information on what are their goals, their dreams, what are their clinical goals, like what are some things within specialization that like prioritize on a scale of 1 to 10. Glaucoma,
Yeah.
are you a 1 interest? Are you a 10 interest? Are you somewhere in between? If we don't have the clinical technology and equipment available to support them, then we have a conversation. Does it make sense to bring it into the clinic and to build it into our workflow? And it's not perfect. It's not a perfect model, but it gives me a lot of information also about what are their short and long-term goals. I've had doctors who have expressed to me, hey, my goal is eventually to be out in a specialty contact lens clinic only. I'm like, great, we can build that out.
Right.
And then when it's time for you to take that jump and that leap of faith, I'm going to support you, right? I'm not here to prevent you from doing so. Just be honest and communicate with me on that timeline. And those are the things that I think sometimes if doctors are having a hard time retaining talent or recruiting talent, or maybe there's just not a good positive mindset out in the community about how they're taking care of their talent and their team. It's understanding what makes these individuals tick and how did they want to shape their career. And a lot of times it could be within your clinic, but other times they want to grow. And I think good optometry cultivates and develops even better optometry.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love that you're really taking these doctors or these team members and allowing them to lean in their strengths, right? Having that, 1 to 10, that grading scale, and understanding what they really love and what they really are not a big fan of, and allowing them to lean into their strengths. that's a game changer. I mean, again, that creates loyalty, that creates better patient care, that creates excitement in the exam lane, excitement outside of the exam lane. You now have taken someone that sees patients, that wants to go out in the community and educate that, hey, I'm the specialist at North Lake Eye, and I want you to come in and let me do the specialty contact lens fitting or this dry eye exam. That's what we need more of. We need doctors to lean into their strengths, but we need practice owners to allow these doctors to make this happen as well, and not look at them as how many patients can we see in an hour and increase that top line and bottom line. No, what can they do where they lean in their strengths to elevate that practice long term and bring more loyalty to the practice as well.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it.
Awesome. Man, I could sit down and talk to you about practice management all day, every day, because I know you're the OG. You're the man when it comes to it, no doubt about it. But one of the reasons why I really wanted to bring you on this podcast outside of catching up, Ryan, was really to touch on your new podcast, Ryan Reflects. I would love for you to really give us an overview of what Ryan Reflects is all about, and maybe even touch on some of the guests that you've had so far. Because one thing that I know about you, man, is that you are a true ambassador for eye care. You have a kind heart, a warm heart, and you're all about empowerment. So I would love to learn a little bit more about Ryan Reflects.
Yeah, Darryl, it's all about, I'll give you a little backstory. I'm a big sports fan, and one of the ways that I stay connected with my buddies is through fantasy football. Every August we get together, we have a draft, and the last few years we have a buddy within the group who does video production. He actually put together, we like to call it the greatest podcast for 12 people. It's literally 12 people. We'll have interviews on the weekly high score. We'll go through, just kind of catch up and just be guys.
Yeah.
And so he was like, guys, I can't do it this year. I have so much going on. And so one of the guys reached out, he said, hey, you like video, you do a lot of that stuff on YouTube and this and that. I'm like, I don't have a podcast, Mike. I've never done anything podcast related. And he's like, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, you know what? And I, of course I ran it past my wife because I like to make sure that I'm sensitive to what I do with extracurricular time.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. So I said, let's do it. And so, we would do one every other week, and I was having fun with it. And, I've always had this drive inside of me to better and, like you said, empower people that are going through the process. So pre-optometry, into optometry students, into new graduate, into wherever they're at within their optometric journey.
Yeah.
I want to provide more content like you're doing, like Harbir's doing, like Joey's doing, like a lot of the podcasts that are out there that support the profession. And I truly believe that if we are putting positive vibes out there about optometry and about what we do, how we do it, and how we are able to better the lives of our patients and our communities, that's what we need in our profession. Not this negativity and this complaining about X, Y, or Z things that are transpiring, because the reality is we can all find a million and one things to complain about, not just in optometry, but in life. And if you focus on those things, that's depressing. That's just not the way to navigate and live your life. And so that's why I started the podcast. I was inspired by individuals like you and Harbir and everybody who's doing it, and said, why not? Why not put a little bit more positive vibes out there? And so it's going to be a combination of interviews like this, and then also just kind of solo podcast efforts. And if you go to the YouTube channel, the Ryan Reflects YouTube channel that I have, I've done videos in the past that were designed to try to help cultivate and put positive information out there for students, new grads, pre-optometry, pros and cons, talking about different topics. And I said, you know what? I feel this is the best way for me to do so based on the current time that I have. Editing some of those videos and getting the different cuts of film and music and B-roll like Joey does. What Joey does is truly incredible. I mean, the amount of time, energy, and effort, people have no idea how hard it is to do what he does. But in these formats, I feel like I could utilize my time and my skill set the best. So
I love it. So what does this podcast look like? Are we going to do series, seasons?
Yeah.
What's the cadence? Are we dropping it every week, every month? Yeah. What does that look like, Ryan?
It'll be a once every Thursday episode, and with some bonus episodes sprinkled in here and there. And so you asked, who have I interviewed so far? Well, I've only actually published my interview with Dr. Joseph Allen. I actually have an interview coming out this week with Dr. Haley Perry and Dr. Casey Krug, who are local optometrists to me in Asheville, North Carolina. And it's having a conversation about what in the world happened with Hurricane Helene.
Oh, wow.
And I also felt, on my heart, it was a timely time to release it for doctors that are going through what's happening in Southern California and how it was debilitating for us. It felt like going through COVID all over again, but in an isolated, radius where once you step outside of that radius, life is very normal.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed a number of other doctors that, I have to go ahead and put together some of those, those episodes. But my goal is to remain consistent with this for a year. And then obviously beyond that. But one of the challenges I've ran into with content creation in the past is how do you do it all? How do you be a good husband, a good father, run the business, see patients, consult, speak, and do. And so I've mapped out a game plan and a roadmap. And I'm excited, I'm excited. And I hope that the energy that I feel in the world of podcasting continues to ripple off into all of the podcasts that are out there like yours. I mean, you guys have truly done an incredible job paving the way for individuals like myself that want to get out there and do it and further impact the profession in a positive way.
Wow. Well, hey, man, I just want to say thank you for your kind words. And I want to thank you for also all the great work you've done already in this video space and all the amazing work you're going to do moving forward. And also, Ryan, I want to say I apologize, man. I know that you stay in Asheville and I didn't reach out to you when the hurricane hit, man. And, I actually feel bad about that because I'm a North Carolinian like you, right? We live here and I'm an optometrist just like you. And I should have done a better job with reaching out to my colleagues locally to check on them. Sometimes when things are in our backyard, we're here, but then we're more proactive about things that aren't in our backyard, which, we all could probably do better with that. But I want to just say I apologize in regards to not reaching out to you to check on your practice, but also your family, man. Like I said, our wives, they've hung out with each other. Our kids are about the same age. So there was no excuse for it. But I'm glad that you guys are, turning things around and it's getting better. And I can't wait to hear that podcast, man. I know it's going to be full of great content, good stories to help other colleagues go through adversity and just make them stronger, especially the folks out in California, as you had mentioned. So again, I apologize about that, my friend.
There's no need to apologize. Of course, I appreciate, the thoughts, and it's amazing. We go through life and life gets very busy. And I think at times it's easy for us to be like, hey, I haven't heard from this person. Maybe they don't care about me, or maybe they don't. Like, you start to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I know you're a good person. I know that you care about me and my family. I felt the love from all the people that communicated to me or were praying in general. So no need to. We have rebounded. My kids, their school got decimated. And so it took a while to get rebuilt, restructured, but they did it so quickly where they're back in school as of January 6th in the school. And there was a church that opened up that allowed them to utilize some of their auxiliary space to meet for school for a nice period of time post hurricane. But it was wild. It was crazy. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. It was one of those things that if we can work through COVID, a hurricane, whatever else comes at us, we're going to be resilient in life. And that's truly what I believe.
Man, you know what? I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was just talking about our age group and how much we've encountered over such little time, man. We've seen everything, experienced everything. I mean, if you really take a step back and you look at just even music, amazing music in hip hop, your Biggies, your Tupacs, all the way up to now your Kendrick Lamars and your Drakes, right? But even if you look back to the internet and social media and TikTok, your first black president with Obama, COVID, all these storms. I mean, ChatGPT, Tesla, Elon Musk. I mean, I could go on and on. It's like we've seen so much in such little time that it's a great time to be living, man. I mean, we talk about optometry, but when we sit back and reflect on life, we've seen so much during our short little bit of time on this earth that I hope and pray that just like you, I can make an impact and empower people out there to make a change, and that we continue to elevate our profession.
Well, you've already done that, Darryl. I mean, through Defocus, through Black Eye Care Perspective, through all the things that you're involved in. You're very involved with my eye doctor out there, influencing doctors and the career journey. You're doing so much, and I think what we both want to see is more people jump on that bandwagon. And if you think there's no space for you to be involved to positively impact the profession, I believe that you're mistaken. There's so much room for people to be putting positive vibes out there in our profession and to continue to support it.
I love it. And thanks again for those kind words. Now, Ryan, something I always like to ask all my colleagues that come on the show is, what do you want to be known for when it's your turn, your time to retire your phoropter? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Great question. I personally want to be somebody who is known as a positive, forward-thinking, and influential optometrist that helped shape the landscape of not only optometry when I first got into it, but where it went during the time that I practiced, and then the future of the profession. I want to continue to move that needle in the right direction. And I also want to take a step even further and just help people have the ability and build out the faith to follow their hopes and dreams and put together a good pathway in not only just their optometric journey, but in life. And so I think we are so much more than just people that provide eye health and vision care needs. We are human beings that provide an incredible service to our community, and we can get involved in so many different ways outside of just patient care.
Amen, my brother. I love it. For those that are listening to this podcast and they're like, man, that guy has a sexy voice. Man, that guy's doing some amazing things. Man, that guy is, I got to meet him. What's the best way for them to connect with you if they are looking for a job opportunity? And again, what's the best way for them to connect with you in regards to the podcast and social media platforms? If you don't mind sharing your information, my friend.
Absolutely. So my email is Ryan, that's RYAN.Corte, CORTE, the number 1 at gmail.com. And then on every social media platform, including TikTok, which got shut down, like last night, at Ryan Reflects is my handle, except for on LinkedIn, it's just Ryan Corte. But I'm happy to connect in a multitude of fashions. I want to see our profession continue to thrive. And yep, the podcast is also Ryan Reflects with Dr. Ryan Corte. So you just put that into Google and it's on every major podcast platform. Only a couple episodes out so far. We just started in 2025, but I'm looking forward to the journey and looking forward to continuing to collaborate with you and all those who are just doing incredible things in the space.
Wow. Hey, man, I appreciate this. This has been a fantastic conversation, just like all the other conversations that we have. I just want to say, everyone out there that's listening, we got to empower each other. We got to do better. We got to make sure that we are true ambassadors for this profession. Optometry is a great profession. It's done so much for my family, but I know if you're listening to this and you're watching this, I know it's done a lot for your family as well. So let's make sure that we continue to push it forward. Let's make sure that we own AI, leverage AI in the right way. Let's make sure that we partner with the AOA to continue to protect our rights and expand our scope. And let's continue to uplift each other. And let's continue to make sure that we always reach out to each other, because we're all going through things out there in life, whether it's hurricanes, fires, personally, professionally, whatever it may be. But it's up to us to hold each other up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. And until next time.
Hey, family,
peace.
If you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.